Joe Smith Jr. puts Eleider Alvarez away in the 9th round. What up, Fight World? It's your boy, Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button for the latest and greatest in boxing. Man, we had a full schedule, busy day for boxing. Joe Smith Jr., congratulations to him and his team. He knocks out Eleider Alvarez main event, and that was on Top Rank ESPN. That was their main card. And it was a good fight. I think Alvarez fought a dumb plan. I want to give you guys some of my thoughts. I just think Alvarez, he just wasn't in it. So I'm going to go over some of my commentary and we'll get started. Check my videos because I did Dillian White and I got to work on Sean Porter, but I did the rest of the Fox card. So if you want to hear the breakdowns to those fights, check it on the channel. And if you're new, consider subscribing. I said I was watching the Top Rank main event. Smith hits hard, just union strong. Now, if you guys know me, I've been very candid about this. I like Joe Smith Jr. You know, I just always have liked him. He's not special in terms of, just doing maneuvers or something like Roy Jones. But he makes up for that with heart, with power, and just sheer determination. So I've always liked his, it's like some guys in there, like Badu Jack. That's my guy too as well. Shout out to Badu Jack. He's another fighter where it doesn't necessarily look like they're doing anything too crazy, but they're dedicated to their crafts. They seem to stay away from the BS, come up and turn up in shape, and they're earnest hard workers. So I respect it. Joe Smith Jr., they said even though his boxing career picked up and he beat Bernard Hopkins, he's still a union worker. You know, I don't know about now, but, you know, he's just good old fashioned American, you know, union worker and the whole bit. I did say Joe Smith Jr., he's a bit wide when he's swinging against Alvarez with his back on the ropes. He just needs to be cautious because a technical fighter can catch and shoot and hit you with the shorter shot. That didn't happen, but it was something to be concerned because he was taking these larger shots. But part of Alvarez's problem here was he was waiting. Joe Smith Jr., all this time you're waiting, Joe Smith Jr., and I love when there's this little thing he does where he'll just put punches together, like where he's approaching you and he'll just touch you like this, and then he'll rip like harder shots. That's what you're supposed to do. Open them up, keep busy, scoring shots, you know, getting you to loosen up. And Alvarez just seemed like he was waiting. He honestly doesn't look like the same since the Kovalev fight, you know, and credit to Joe Smith Jr. I'm not taking anything away from him as a fighter. He broke him down as well. I said Alvarez's nose was a bit bloody, and is really after his nose started bleeding, you've seen him start to wane and wilt a bit, and Alvarez just looked like his head wasn't really in it. Like, man, how this kid is strong. How much of this do I really want? They said he was like 38 or something like that. So long career, you know, got some mileage on him from the Kovalev fights and other tough fights and things like that. So I don't know. He especially when his nose started trickling and bleeding, it started getting worse. The kid was strong, and this part was ESPN is cold-blooded. Somehow they showed the DAZN Dillian White getting knocked out. They got the rights from Sky Sports or DAZN or whatever, and they aired it on this broadcast. So, you know, check out my video on Dillian White. Brutal knockout. Povetkin, congrats to him. You know, he got a vicious knockout, and he took that WBC version of a belt that Dillian White had, and they showed it on this telecast. Tim Bradley, his commentary really misses me. He says you got to drop some buns in the oven. And that's like usually a phrase that people say when they're referring to someone getting pregnant. And look, Ego Stradamus, this is why y'all come back to my channel, I guess. Ego Stradamus strikes again at 8:08. So this was before the outcome. Peep that. That's me. I said he trying to BHOP Alvarez because he was just putting some mustard on them shots. And look at the timestamp. So, you know, 8:09. I said he tried to punch that boy Alvarez through them ropes like B-Hop. And I put the crying emoji. But I was being serious. When he had Alvarez's back to the ropes, he was working and he was launching. And that's why I was saying he needs to just watch the shorter shot. But Alvarez was never really in the game, and looks like he was. You can't just allow someone to punish you and hit you with that accumulation damage, especially being a puncher, and then think you're going to just have enough energy. Your energy is getting depleted and zapped from taking all these shots. And this is what I said. Alvarez's game plan is stupid. He has power, but he's not landing anything thus far to deter Joe Smith Jr. from coming forward. He needs to take a stand. Andre Ward kind of touched on this as well. He said, I want to win every second of every round. Like you gotta, like Floyd, even as Floyd progressed and evolved, his hands were brittle. He had hand damage. So he wasn't as offensive in terms of throwing the sheer volume as he did when he was 20 fighting Gennaro Hernandez, 21 or whatever. But where he made up for that is precision, accuracy, and he got all these guys respect, Canelo and whatnot. Alvarez was like a sitting duck because he just wasn't throwing the volume, and this wasn't a Michael Seals level person. This is a bigger puncher and a person who was active and has great momentum from the Jesse Hart victory, which I don't know, some judge, I thought the fight could have been stopped, and I think it went the distance, and some judge allegedly had it for Jesse Hart, but Joe Smith Jr. all the way in that fight. So he carried momentum. He knows he has power. He stopped my dude from Farah. He's stopped plenty of guys like BHOP who had never been stopped even by the likes of Kovalev, even though I do think the Kovalev fight softened Bernard Hopkins up, but whatever. He still holds those titles, so he knows he can hurt you, and just simply put, Alvarez wasn't doing enough, period. Bradley doing the most. He said that Dimitri Bivol has dynamite in both hands. I don't agree with a lot of Bradley's commentary. I think Bivol's a good fighter, but when he first came out, they billed Bivol as this like monstrous puncher, but I don't really see that. When I see Bivol, he has some power. I'm not going to chump him on his power, but it's not what they made him sound like a puncher, but he's really more of a boxer. And Bradley was talking about he has dynamite, but there's a lot of guys that Bivol didn't stop, like Joe Smith Jr. and Jean Pascal, stuff like that. Bradley sounds foolish talking about he got to land a, quote, lucky shot. Listen, I don't like that whole lucky shot stuff. What are the fighters spending 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks in camp if it's all dependent on luck and the luck of the draw and you just landed something lucky? So I don't like that. To me, that's too casual. It sounds really casual when people start saying a lucky shot. These fighters are trainers, or they're training. They're professionals, and they're training to hurt. This is what they're being instructed to do. This is what they're doing drills for, sparring, etc. It doesn't just rely on luck, whoever gets lucky. So I hate that whole notion from casuals about a lucky shot landing, and Bradley used it. Even though he's a former fighter, he used that. I just don't believe in the lucky punch. Like Marquez didn't land a lucky punch on Pacquiao. You think he didn't know little feints that Pacquiao was doing from fighting him 3 times? That wasn't luck. That was by design. He was just familiar with his target, and, he capitalized on it. He's been training his whole life and dedicated his whole life to the sport. It's not relying on luck. A little rant. I said Joe Smith Jr. was standing up, ready for the round, and, okay, so the round was about to begin. Joe Smith Jr. was already like meeting halfway and waiting for the ref instruction, and Alvarez was like this. Alvarez was on his stool, and I said that wasn't a great look. The body language was off. Alvarez, his whole body language. Why is Joe Smith Jr. up at the center of the ring waiting for the ref, and then it's like Alvarez is trying to get as much time on the stool as he can? That's not a good look. And I told you, and it was right after this, like a round or two after this, he gets stopped. Good body shots from Joe Smith Jr. This was laughable commentary from Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley said that Joe Smith Jr. ain't going nowhere, and he laughed. He's like, Joe Smith, he ain't going nowhere. And he started laughing. But then Smith did get clipped in that round, and his leg buckled a bit. And then all of a sudden, Bradley starts exclaiming like, oh, he's hurt. He's hurt. He got hit with the right. That's what happens when you get complacent and boom, boom. And I'm like, what? Like, this is the same person that just said that Joe Smith Jr. ain't going nowhere. And, I don't see him. He's just too durable. And then seconds later, he gets rocked and his legs buckle. And then you act like you've been telling us this all along. Really weird commentary and a clear contradiction. And then look what I said. I said they put hella Vaseline on Alvarez. Like he came out, Alvarez came out and his face, it looked like Michael Jackson or something. I was like, why they put so much Vaseline? And then later, after I said it, they started talking about it on the telecast, Mark Krieger or one of them. And I said Alvarez's face looked like Papa Shango from WWF. Facts. That's how he came out looking. His face looked crazy with all that Vaseline on it. But I don't know, that's a little trick to get the punches to slide off easier or whatever. And I said, Alvarez looked tired. Smith need to go doghouse rules on this boy. Literally, after I said that, he gets knocked out. Boom. And that was the end, 9th round. So at the closing of the 8th, I said that. And then the next round, I told you. And see, if you listen to my commentary, it starts leading up to something. And oftentimes you see, we end up being right. I told you. Look, 41 minutes ago. So 41 minutes before the actual outcome, I told you that Joe Smith Jr. was trying to punch that boy Alvarez through the ropes like BHOP. So after it happened, that's what I said. I said, told you. Punch that boy through the ropes like BHOP. Bro, I seen it. I seen it coming a mile away. And Alvarez wasn't doing the right things to take a stand or get no respect. You know, he landed a couple things, but his head didn't seem all the way in it. And he never seemed to stop the forward progress and the momentum. He had that moment where he buckled Joe Smith Jr.'s leg, but this kid got heart. You know, he's a union worker. He's tasted defeat. He's fought with broken jaws, all types of stuff like that. You're going to have to do more and string it together. So these onesie, twosie punches from Alvarez wasn't going to cut it. Ultimately, I don't know where Alvarez goes from here because the fight was beaten out of him. His nose and face was busted. You know, he couldn't just shoot singles. This is not Joe Smith Jr. He just resurrected his career, like, because he took some losses, like the Bivol loss and stuff. But don't forget, he hurt Bivol in that final round and really rocked Bivol, who's a champion. So Joe Smith Jr., he's barking up the tree of a title shot. And he resurrected his career because people thought it was over for him when he took a couple losses, right? Sullivan Barrera, Bivol. And now he right back with the Jesse Hart performance. And now stopping Eleider Alvarez on ESPN Plus main event. Shout out to Joe Smith Jr. I told you I like that boy. Shout out to New York and the union workers. He's just fun. He's fun to watch. You know what he's coming to do. You don't have to get no fancy footwork, but he makes up for it. Like I said, he has a work ethic. He has a volume. He's tough. He's willing, you know, and that's boxing. Styles make fights. You could be the most technical person, but if you letting someone walk in and walk you down and their power is ruthless and you don't have nothing for it, then you will lose. And you just can't let people grind you down like that. That's what Joe Smith Jr. came to do. So I don't care. I want to see him with any top guys. Like, there's a lot of great fights for him. Jean Pascal, Marcus Brown, any of those top guys. So I don't know if he's actually signed a Top Rank or co-promoted through them, but hopefully he gets a big fight. Artur Beterbiev, that's a crazy fight. Both guys have power. You know, we've seen Beterbiev. I think he got dropped by the Caleb Johnson dude. So who knows, you know, but Smith, he deserves a title shot and he deserves a big fight and a big payday. That's my thoughts. We working. Let me know what you guys think. Very action-packed day of boxing all through the day. I got a couple more videos to kick out, so keep it locked on the channel. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more sports. Get unlimited access to premium content with an ESPN Plus subscription. ESPN Plus offers a variety of content, including specials, behind-the-scenes docuseries like Bruce Lee's Be Water, and much more. With an ESPN Plus subscription, you get access to a ton of classic archive fights and replays from boxing and the UFC. Big names like, "Hi, I'm Mike Tyson. Come and watch my fight." Floyd Mayweather, "Easy work. I'm rich." And Manny Pacquiao, "Yes, it's up to my promoter." Just to name a few. If that's not enough, you could get the ESPN bundle, which includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. All three apps, one low price. You don't want to miss out. Make sure you guys click that link in the description box of all of my videos. Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.